Hello and welcome back to the PokerStars.net European Poker Tour. We are in Prague for the penultimate day of this tournament, playing down to our final table of 8. And we have a new feature table for your viewing pleasure, featuring Johnny Lodden from Team PokerStars Pro, who, Matt Broughton, appears to be the only player who's taken his seat coming back from the break.
Well, I mean, that just shows you the level of dedication, because it's all about being at the table when it comes to winning poker. And the fact that he's there first lets you know he's raring to go. Going to represent and take this one down. That's my absolute guarantee.
Johnny Lodden with a 28 big blind stack. Ben Warrington, who started the day as tournament chip leader, could still be the tournament chip leader. Is certainly the big stack at this table with 2.8 million, 119 big blinds. And obviously we know we've got a lot of regular EPT Live viewers in the UK who are rooting for Ben, especially now that we've lost Roberto Romanello. The Welshman went out in 21st on the third hand of the day. We will not have a two-time champ on the EPT in the year 2012.
Again, unbelievable. I was promised this as an absolute definite. Quite a few short stacks here. So, you know, we're 12.24 with a 3k ante. We've got a 1.5 and a 1.1 and a 2.8 million, but then we've also got a fair few that can't hang about too long. They're not going to be feeling too comfortable with the stack sizes.
By the way, thank you to Tim Hartling, who's tweeted, once again, a superb broadcast. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Tim. Appreciate the feedback.
Wonder what he's watching. Boom. Thanks very much.
And Thudman has given us a quiz question, which will lead us nicely into a game we're going to play here on EPT Live. Remember, hashtag EPT Live if you want to get in touch on Twitter. Thudman says, do you know how many Norwegians have won an EPT?
No.
If you had to guess, Matt, what number would you go for?
I'm going to go with 3.
And you'd be right.
No, would I?
You would be right.
Really? Good. I knew that is what I meant to say, and that's the correct answer. Who were they? When?
Bjorn-Erik Glenner beat Phil Ivey heads up at EPT Barcelona in Season 3.
Yes.
Andreas Heuvold won the first ever Dortmund event in 2006. And at the start of Season 7, Kevin Stanley won EPT Tallinn.
Tallinn, yeah. Good stuff.
Remember,
Facts.
we have 2 Norwegian players left in the tournament, one of them being Mads Amott, who we saw at our previous feature table, the other being Johnny Lodden from Team PokerStars Pro, who we're now going to watch. So I think we should play, drum roll please, Norwegian Facts.
Sweet. Love it. One of my favourite. I do this a lot at home when I'm just if there's not much going on, nothing on the telly.
Familiar viewers will know we've played this with other countries, be it Spain, Denmark, Finland. We want facts about Norway, but remember, and this is the most important thing of all, they don't have to be genuine facts. They can be made-up facts as well. Matt, you'll be thrilled to see that the gentleman with the bow tie is at our feature table. He also is wearing some rather funky glasses. This is Diego Gonzalez, and he's the guy who we were told will wear pyjamas if he makes the final table.
Do you know what? I think he's probably quite wacky, and that's tremendous and not at all annoying. I like also that he's very much gone for the defensive chip wall. You know, it's not a triangle, it's not a wedge, it's not a pyramid, it's just a big long line of all of his chips. Thank you, miss. Look at those tremendous glasses. I haven't seen that for many years, back when it was something that we welcomed.
He's first to speak here.
I bet he's got a nickname. I've got one.
It's not broadcastable, but you've got one.
I've got one.
Well, Gonzalez has folded. Action's on Johnny Lodden. Johnny comes to this table with a stack of 600 and 76,000. Blinds now up to 12.24. And Johnny has raised.
Fold around to our hero Ben on the button.
Pocket sixes.
Yep. Good enough. Good enough to make the move, good enough to win the hand in the end.
So remember, people, we need some Norwegian facts on Twitter, whether they're real or made up. Here is a genuine Norwegian fact for you. The Norwegian Poker Championships will take place in Dublin for the 2nd year running. in spring of next year, being held at the City West Hotel from March the 16th to the 24th, and you can qualify now for free at pokerstars.net. This is obviously only open to Norwegians.
Right. Good to point that out.
I saw you writing it in your diary, Matt. I thought
did.
I'd better just intercept that.
Oh, I was going to take that down as well. Do you know there are more elephants in Norway than in the United Kingdom?
Is that a genuine Norwegian fact or a made-up fact?
Just made it up on the spot.
Boom!
Boom! Take that. Put that in your Norwegian pipe and set fire to it and then inhale it. Yeah, that's the first fact. If you want to take that sort of a fact on, hashtag EPT Live. But, I mean, good luck, because now I think I've set the bar pretty high. And James came along, totally reeled him in. Sucker. Meanwhile, it's all kicking off. There's even a flop and everything. So our friend Gonzalez, first to act, checks. Round to our big chip stack. Ben, who also takes his option, checks it through to the turn. Gonzalez again reaches over his wall and checks it across. 60 grand in this pot.
That was a very loud announcement of the call being made.
Yeah, that's what we like. Nice and clear. Gets a pretty fast call out of Gonzalez. Action balled. And now Gonzalez can represent he was drawing, even if he wasn't. Or he could have been. Those are your two options.
Yeah, suddenly leads the river.
C7 makes a raise. Okay, call. It's now 200,000 to call.
Yeah, he's gone for it.
Have a straight.
Everyone loves a chop pot.
Seat 7 shows ace of diamonds, 5 of hearts. Seat 2 has ace of clubs and 9 of spades. It's a split pot.
They're my favourite sorts of pots. Of the pot categories, it's right up there.
Stephen has submitted the first Norwegian fact of the day.
Good man.
Norwegians invented paper.
I like that a lot. That's great. That's perfect.
And John's fact is not so much a fact as a pun. Norway is not a direction.
No. Oh, that's tremendous. Oh, they're coming in thick and fast now. Actually, we're going to have to drag these out. They're just coming. There's a glut of facts.
Everyone loves facts. Well, interestingly, Paul Seaton has asked a question which is not related to Norway. Which player has come closest to winning 2 EPT titles? If the question is, Paul, someone who's won a title and then come close to winning the second, I'm going to give 2 players who've had a first followed by a second. The first being Ram Vaswani, and that was back in season 1, because he won Dublin, and then the very next event was Copenhagen, and he lost heads up to Noah Boken.
Back before the internet, we were black and white back then.
And then in season 4, Mark Telcher, who'd won London in season 2, then lost heads up to his friend Sander Liloff. So,
yeah, accidentally drove his Lamborghini into the final table. The chips went everywhere. And they couldn't give it to him.
But there have been a few who've then had a second followed by a first. But in terms of champions who've then fallen at the final hurdle to win the 2-time title, those are the 2 that spring to mind.
Oh, there's a tremendous fact waiting for you. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but Martin has been on hashtag EPT Live, and he has left you an absolute belter.
Well, let's see what happens in this hand. It was a small blind raise from Diego Gonzalez, called by Johnny, well, folded rather by Johnny Ludden in the big blind. Yeah, this is pretty awesome. Ice bears do walk in the street. They simply love traffic lights and often rub up against them while chewing on a penguin.
I can see it. I can see it now, and it sounds absolutely real.
I am going to call made-up fact on that one. The fact that penguins live in the Antarctic might have something to do with me not believing that one. Oh, that and that it's ridiculous.
That helps it. That helps it on its way. I always like the EPT live broadcast because people start following me on Twitter, and they've no idea the disappointment they're setting themselves up for. Because I'm just really not about the Twitter. Come follow me, come join in, but literally after tomorrow you probably wish you hadn't.
Ben Warrington, the table and possible tournament chip leader, raises to 50,000. Look at Johnny staring down the barrel of the lens.
He's a man used to the pressure of a camera. He eats the pressure of a camera. Smiles back at it. Why is that man wearing those glasses?
The bow tie you liked, the glasses not so much, right?
Not so big on the glasses.
Oh, by the way, during the break, both Matt and I were able to establish at close range
Yes.
that Mr. Herm's scarf was a scarf and not part of his shirt.
Yeah, Mark Herminator Herm's Wolverine stroke lumberjacket was a separate shirt and scarf combo. Sadly, neither of us got photographic evidence, but we're going to, pledge to you that that is the truth.
So those are the stacks of the 6 players we have at our feature table. I believe 19 players remain in the tournament. Remember, there'll be a redraw when we get to 16, down to our final 2 tables of 8.
No duplicates of nationalities. We've had 2 feature tables now, and look, a complete range of flags for you to enjoy.
Makes it 60,000 to go.
60,000 from Leonzio. Actually asking, Leonzio's got his headphones in, but wants to know what he had behind him. 442k is the reply. Gonzalez out, Lodden out.
Everyone folds. Marco Leonzio wins the blinds and antes.
And either some local support or a fight.
Sounds to me like someone's just won/lost a big pot.
I'm gonna go with that and say yes. We don't have a camera on the outer tables, but I think you're right. Either that or those burgers are as tasty as they look.
Johnny Lodden's gone to take a look. Hopefully when he comes back to the table he can inform his table mates what happened. Set against an overpair on the turn, and I guess the overpair improved to top set on the river.
That was a lot of noise for a basic bit of poker action.
Small blind on 7 and big blind on 8.
What can I say? When you haven't been there, Matt, you can't act like you've been there.
Well, that's where you're wrong. I'm now going to list all the places I've not been, pretending I've been there. Very phlegmatic raise there from Mr. Lodden. Just, yeah, whatever, just 50k. Boom.
Action on Ben Warrington in the small blind. Both blinds fold. By the way, Marco Leonzio, who was going to be in the small blind on this hand, is in the 8th seat. The last time I was in Prague, Matt, was in Season 5 of the EPT, when this tournament was won by Salvatore Bonavena, who to this date remains the only Italian player to have won an EPT. Will Mr. Leonzio become the second? Prague has been kind to his nation in the past.
I don't know if Prague has that kind of awareness, as a location. I don't know how aware a location can be held about the nationality of the people in it. You could be right.
So here's a Norwegian fact from Andreas.
Excellent.
In Norway, you can buy beer only until 8 p.m. and 6 p.m. on Saturdays. Hard liquor until 6 p.m. and 3 p.m. on Saturdays. Sunday, no, no, no.
Wow.
Now, I can believe that. I'm not sure it's true, but I could believe it.
I like the sound of it myself.
And in the hours that you can buy it, you're probably spending about 15 quid on a beer.
Well, that's probably why they shut the shops. Like, you know what? No one is buying this booze. It's so expensive. Like, with just the heating and the lighting in this place is costing us a fortune.
How much players are now? 18?
We're down to 18, confirmation from our tournament director, Teresa. And a reminder that you can qualify now for the Norwegian Championships at PokerStars. That event taking place in Dublin in March of next year. Meanwhile, the Norwegian facts continue to come in on Twitter. And this one from Magnus. In Norway, there are more deaths caused by polar bears than there are car crashes. Do they even have polar bears in Norway? I know they have trolls, but...
I don't know. And the polar bears, are they the ones driving the cars, or have I kind of got the two facts slightly confused?
No, I think you're confusing
Right.
chalk with cheese.
Right, these aren't driving polar bears.
No.
Okay. Very early in the webcast for this kind of conversation, actually, but I'm impressed. I mean, I like it. Normally you have to wait till about 3:30 in the morning before you can get away with this, but this is great. There's some poker going on. I'll let you just enjoy that. Loddon come in with his standard 50k. Solid 50k. Good old dependable 50k.
Luis on Twitter predicts that we will have our first ever Spanish EPT champion, Go Gonzalez. He's taking this down and it's not even close. Although, as someone I think it was Robert actually on Twitter, quite fairly asked, how can he even see his cards with that wall of chips in front of him?
Well, between that and the glasses, I mean, I'm assuming that there isn't the same picture on the inside as the outside, because otherwise he literally is guessing at every single hand. It's the matchup everyone's been talking about, Gonzalez-Loddon. I mean, the stack does appear to be in his way.
Well, Robert's asked another question on Twitter, which I'll come to after this hand. Let's see how this plays out. Gonzalez has checked the flop, and Johnny Loddon will continue.
Gonzalez drives those cards round the wall into the muck.
Yeah, Robert asks about our coverage of next year's PCA. I say next year's, I mean, it's less than a month away. The PCA 2013, will we be covering the 100k Super High Roller? The answer to that question is yes. You will have live web streams from the PCA of the final table of the Super High Roller, the final table of the main event, and the final table of the High Roller as well. And those will be cards up, delayed webcasts. So make sure you join us on PokerStars.tv. I believe all the dates have been listed there for PCA 10. And of course, you can still win seats for those tournaments right now at PokerStars.net.
Good job. We've had a very informed tweet came through from Jaro Moreno, saying that Diego Gomez is a Francisco de Jerez, is a famous Spanish writer from the 17th century. He's got a picture up, and I think it's actually pretty good. It just
oh, so it's an impersonation of this Guy Fawkesian-looking character.
I don't know if it's deliberate, but it's certainly there from Jaro Moreno.
It's got to be the most obscure, bizarre, surreal lookalike in the history of televised poker.
But it's there if you want to see what our friend has suggested. This is the lookalike. Get on the old hashtag EPT Live. Have a look at the link. Meanwhile, we've not seen too much on the button.
Danny Palafis is raised. Johnny Loddon has defended his big blind. Jack high rainbow flop.
Johnny checks it. Palafis going to continue at this. I feel like he should. It looks like he feels like he should as well. That continuation bet, I think it's going to catch on. I think before you know it, everyone's going to be doing it. Facts are getting a bit out of hand, I'm going to be honest with you. People are just making up anything they want now.
Even the media covering this tournament are joining in. Matthew Pitt from the Poker News reporting team says every Wednesday at 10:15 the entire country plays Loddon Thinks for an hour. This one's actually quite funny, actually. It's from Daniel. He says, Sweden is Norway's shopping mall due to price differences. And Sweden ain't cheap, so that tells you how expensive Norway is.
Yeah. Yeah, that's quite a scary thought, really.
Sorry, I was just distracted by just...
What are you doing?
Sometimes I like to look at the avatars of the people who tweet us.
Mm-hmm.
Particularly when they're female. Back to the table. Palafas has raised to 50,000. Kutapas in the big blind with the decision. Well, he is defended. Heads up to that flop of King 8-5.
Well, Palef's previous hand proved he was king of the c-bets. Is he going to take another? No, going to check it this time. Certainly you'd think that card's good enough that if it gets checked round to him again, he'll take another shot of this. Surely a cheeky little nibble here, Jack Woolworth.
A cheeky nibble?
A cheeky nibble at the pot. The Jack's just too good a card to let go by. Palafas the original raiser, so he can do that.
Will this delayed continuation bet get called? Signs point to yes. Alternatively, this could even be a check raise. It's a call. The river is another 8. Good to passes. Checked a third time. Well, Palafas fire on the river. He's rocking the leather.
Yep. Yep, he's going to go for it and keep selling the story. 125,000. Gets called for a showdown. The king versus the jack. Had him from the start.
So, Palafas wins that pot.
Fonzie takes it down.
Well, some of you have been asking on Twitter about whether we're going to have any co-commentators over the course of the day and whether any members of Team PokerStars Pro are going to join us in the booth. The answer to your question is yes. And the first member of Team Pro is here now. It's Martin Horetsky. Good to see you, Martin. How are you?
Hello, how are you? Very good.
On our previous feature table, we had one of your fellow countrymen, Mariusz Klaczynski, and we know that the Polish media are very excited about him going deep in the EPT. I guess it's still quite rare to see sort of a strong Polish presence on the EPT?
Yes, but we are getting much better over the last year, and Mariusz is an example. He just won a huge pot on the other table. And we have recently won WPT, first ever title. So we are getting better, and I think we will see an EPT champion from Poland. And we have a chance even this week.
Indeed we do. Down to 18 players in this tournament. Remember, they're going to play down to the final table, the final 8 today. And if you want to watch the final table, we will be back live tomorrow from 12 noon Central European time on PokerStars.tv. Johnny Lodden raising his button. Who would have thought it?
Yeah, this is a remarkable new move from Johnny. He's just trying this out for the first time. Going to work through here.
And Johnny wins it uncontested. We've got people sending in Norwegian facts for us. The key being that they don't have to be real facts, they can be made up facts. And this one from Christian. This is a true fact. In Norway, you can't get bad weather, just bad clothes. I think that's true of all Nordic countries, actually. This one I'm a big fan of, though. And this comes in from Rob, the hippie king. He says, little known fact is that Norwegian schools use Zoom poker to explain probability and work ethic.
Yes, I'm quite happy to accept that as true. And if they don't, they should. Action round on Fonzie. Got a horrible seat in the house, but he looks interested.
He raises to 50,000.
He's stolen Johnny's raise.
Folded to the blinds. And there is an all-in from the Italian. Marco Leonzio shoves for 439,000 thereabouts. 436 after he posted the 3K ante.
433,000. Big blind, single, is all in. Forward 430.
Seems like two short stacks.
3,000.
Yeah, here's the low man at this table. Palaf is playing around 1.1 million at the start of the hand.
Oh yeah, it's 386 to call, right?
Yeah.
I played with Marco 2 years ago at the final table in Prague. So he has a chance to get the second final table in Prague.
So I'm right, Matt. Italians do have history of going deep and doing well in this tournament.
Yeah. You wait till he gets called. No, I don't know. It doesn't look like it's going to happen here, does it?
There were 3.5 Italians at the table 2 years ago.
Players interested in a heads-up tournament, we still have a few seats available.
I count Roberto Romanello as half.
Registration.
It all counts. Rafa's got some chips out. Has not yet made his decision.
So who is gonna win? Do we have any tips from our...
Well, as usual, our listeners have gone for the whoever had the most chips at that point.
Ah, I see.
So it was a real considered thought from everybody.
To be fair, most of the people who've backed Ben Warrington seem to have experience of playing against him and say that he's got the game both live and online to go the distance.
Yes, he seems confident. But I'm rooting for Johnny Lodden. He really deserves a final table because he had so many deep runs in the EPT.
There's a call.
Let's see the hands.
Looks like a small pocket pair against overcards. King Queen for the Romanian. Pocket nine's the hand for Leonzio, so it is a flip.
Queen of hearts. King of clubs. Seat 8 is all.
Leonzio will need those nines to hold. He's the player at risk.
Queen suited.
What do you think about the call there? King Queen off.
I
More than a
know.
third of your stack.
Yeah, it just seems a bit unnecessary. Oh, well,
Flop better, Leonzio.
what was that you were saying about Prague and the Italians? It appears to be okay.
Yeah, we don't really have a sweat here.
No. Jack, Jack. Oh, crazy times.
Four of a kind takes this spot.
Thank you.
Seat 8.
Of course, he wins a hat for getting quads.
Absolutely, high
on
hand
our
jackpot.
fixture. Spin the wheel, win a hat. Wow.
Hello to Simon on Twitter. He says, I'm studying and watching EPT Live. Okay,
I
I'm
don't-
just watching EPT Live. What can I do? It's awesome. Greetings from Slovenia.
I was going to say only one of those statements could possibly have been true.
Here's some more Norwegian facts. These from Thudman. He says, fact, Mads Amott won the Norwegian Championship heads up in 2010. Fact, Johnny Lodden ended 8th in the Norwegian Championship main event in 2012. I'm going to say that those are probably genuine facts.
Yeah. They're not funny enough to be made up.
Do keep those facts coming in, be they real or not so real.
Yeah, and good news for Marco, just shy of $1 million. Got himself back up there with that big hand. A bit surprised with the Queen King, I must say.
If we're going to play results, I mean, obviously not the final result, but if we're going to play what the other guy had, it's a good call because he's racing, but a lot of the time there you're up against ace king, ace queen.
Yeah, I think a lot of the time you're dominated or just already in big trouble.
Yeah, but it was 6-handed, less than 20 big blinds under the gun versus the big blind. Yeah, a little bit light call. Especially that I know Marco isn't a very loose player, so.
Maybe I'm not needed. You guys can just.
So it's Ben Warrington who's raised the button, made it 50,000. Looks like Marco Leonzio has folded the small blind, so it's Danny Palafas with the decision. Now down to 682,000 after losing that flip in spectacular fashion.
Yeah, I mean, there's losing a flip and then there's just absolutely losing a flip.
It's a not particularly interesting flop.
Unless we have set against set.
Good point, well made.
Yeah, you just never know.
Registration is still open. We have a few seats available. And for the information for the players, we are doing a random
Queen could be good enough on the turn for Ben to take a shot at here.
so everyone will
You see it so many times. Check, check on the flop and then a decent representing hand for the pre-flop aggressor.
The Romanian with the decision.
Attention dealers, in our two-way event, please prepare the deck.
And he calls.
Yeah.
The revert brings the 9 of spades. And Palafas checks again.
Level 8 in our two-bounty event.
Well, we see another bet from Ben Warrington.
400 big blind, 800.
Yeah, I guess it just depends if Ben's got something that he actually thinks he can take to a showdown, but it looks like he's going to go either bluff stroke value bet here anyway.
Warrington bets. By the way, you know we had the update from Teresa that we were down to 18. The player who went out in 19th was one of the Norwegians. Mads Amott was eliminated in 19th place.
Wow.
So Johnny Lodden is the Norwegian hope now.
A lot of pressure. Eyes of a nation. It's a big bet out here. 110,000 into Palafis.
And he folds. More chips for Ben Warrington. Up to nearly 3 million, 2.9 to be precise. And Stephen is having an out-of-body experience about that last hand. Oh, God, those quad 9s on the flop. They were beautiful. Wish I could get decent flops like that. And here's a Norwegian fact from Christian. Norway has almost 22,000 kilometers of coastline. That's half the length around the Earth.
Wow. Is that real?
Well, I'd hope so, because if they're not real, they need to be funny.
He's just trying to catch us out by making it semi-serious, like the elephants.
Robert asks, does the Italian who was the loose cannon on the big game play any of these EPTs? I think his name was Max. Max Martinez is a member of Team PokerStars Pro now, and he does play on the EPT. He went deep in the grand final last season, and I have seen him wandering the corridors here of the Hilton Prague. Apart from the main event, Martin, have you played any side action here?
Yes, I'm playing every day. I cashed one small and I bubbled 3, I think. And we had side event in open faced against Russian players.
Ha! Looks like it's Lodden versus Gonzalez again. Every time Johnny raises from under the gun, Gonzalez seems to defend his big blind.
Yeah.
And the continuation bet will get it done.
Yeah, we see that pattern seems to follow through most of the time. Is Gonzalez is defending, but is not defending very deep into the hand.
Yeah, this is a good spot for John, definitely.
Yeah.
Here's a Norwegian fact from Seaman. The lowest temperature ever measured in Norway is minus 51.4 Celsius.
Wow. That's ridiculous.
So as far as we're aware, still 18 players remaining. We've also got 2 other tables left in the tournament, and we're trying to bring important updates from those tables, but suffice to say, the team at Poker News and the guys from the PokerStars blog are doing awesome work of covering the outer tables, so check out their live updates.
Is Katupas a player you know from previous?
Nope. Never come across him before.
No, don't know this guy. He's been pretty quiet. He's not got too involved since we've been tuned into this table, but he's doing pretty well here. Keeping quiet, just waiting for his moment. There seems to be enough action on the table without him getting too crazy. Another little win there for Ben.
Raise and take it. Getting close to that 3 million chip mark. 2.98 now. The short stack at the table is Danny Palafas after that double up he gave Marco Leonzio. He's playing 551,000. And look at the chip movement over the course of this level. The biggest gainer has been Leonzio, courtesy of that double up, and the biggest loser is actually Katupas, who... No, sorry, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's not through any... That must be through that hand that went to the river.
Yeah.
The Ace-Jack against King-9 hand that he played against Palafas.
Yeah. Although you can see there, Johnny just chipping away there, just slowly crawling his way back up with a few kind of well-timed moves without getting, putting anything too seriously on the line.
Nice to see some spectators on the rail.
Yes, and I can confirm that girl, in case you're wondering, has tremendous shoes. Don't know if you saw that when you were out there. I had a couple of tweets I think wanted to know, but they're spot on.
Okay, we are ready to start drawing.
Gonzalez back at it.
Heads-up event. At the moment, we have 40 players registered, so we start by drawing the buy seats. Hereby, table 47.
Johnny not going to fight against his old foe out of position. Katupas also out of there. Gonzalez raise and take it.
What do you make of this character, Martin? The bow tie, the Greg Raymer-esque glasses.
Yeah, I noticed we have a new Greg Raymer, but he looks a little bit different.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. Are you sure? What do you think of his chip wall? Are you going for the big architectural change here rather than the pyramids and the triangles?
Actually, he has my style. I like a chip wall.
Ah. The only thing is he has to keep kind of driving his cards around it as if it's kind of a bit in his way, like he maybe is regretting it. But I notice he's built to the left now. He's kind of taking his chips out of his way. I've never had enough chips to have to worry about how to stack them, to be honest.
I prefer to invest my chips in the pot and to get more chips.
Yes.
Than to stack them and,
Yeah.
and wait.
According to the tournament clock, we're down to 17, so we've obviously lost someone from one of the outer tables. If we lose another player, we'll be down to 16, and it'll be the redraw for the final 2 tables. By the way, Simeon, who submitted that fact about the coldest ever temperature recorded in Norway, now comes back with what could only be a fake fact, but it's very amusing. He says the warmest temperature ever recovered in Norway was 4 degrees Celsius, and 500 Norwegians melted.
Yeah. Actually, I can believe that as well.
I think it's a good reason to play some PCA satellites.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, Martin. Completely on message.
Oh, wow.
Satellites are now running for the PokerStars Caribbean Adventure, the 10th ever PCA 10-day poker festival kicking off on the 6th of January. You can win your seat right now because satellites are still running. And we will have live coverage of 3 final tables on PokerStars.tv, those events being the Super High Roller, the main event, and the 25k High Roller.
Did you two plan that? That whole PCA thing? Was that
No.
just off the cuff?
No, it was...
that was tremendous.
Inga Kristofferson is slightly confused. Says, love the live coverage, but what does the EPT Prague have to do with Norway? How about some Prague/Czech facts? Inga, we need to hold something back for tomorrow. This is a 2-day broadcast. We'll get to the Czech Republic tomorrow. The reason we're focusing on Norway is because we did have 2 Norwegian players in the tournament who are doing very well. Sadly, one of them has left us, Mad Demott, but we do still have Johnny Lodden, one of the best known, arguably the best known Norwegian player, a member of Team Pro, sat our feature table. So that's why we're celebrating Norway with some Norwegian facts.
Yeah, don't forget, we're here, this is quite a lot of hours we're here for, so we're going to stretch out these facts. We'll pick on different countries as and when they become relevant.
We will do Czech facts, probably tomorrow, but it won't be called Czech facts. I want to call it Check It Out.
Nice. You've been thinking about that a little bit, haven't you?
Well, it was a 2-hour flight, Matt. I had to do something with my time.
Rather than work or, you know, something worthwhile. I like it, though. I like it a lot. Another one for Ben. Oh, he's accidentally knocked a bit of his wall down. See, that's the only problem with when you're doing quite well. Is all those chips really get in the way.
But it's a nice problem to have, I tell you, yeah.
Yeah, it's not the sort of thing you mind. If you keep knocking over your huge chip stack, you go, oh, God, not again. Don't forget, guys, you can play along as well, but only once we've given you the password, which we haven't done yet. And we're not about to do so.
I want to, by the way, praise everyone for the lack of begging/aggressive demanding of free roll passwords.
I was all ready to have to step in as counsellor because, you know, it's James, very mild-mannered guy, very, very gentle soul. But as soon as 20 people go password in capital letters, he does tend to lose it slightly. But yes, so thank you. Do hold off. We'll let you know as soon as we're going to announce it. Get you guys playing as well as watching. Join in with us. Hashtag EBT Live. You don't have to make up facts or no facts about Norway. Just come say hi.
By the way, the 18th place finisher was Jeff Sawa, who obviously has gone deep in a number of EPTs, but sadly will not be joining us on the final table. So 17 remain after Jeff Sawa's elimination. I believe we were talking to Mark Convey from Poker News, and he told us that Jeff got cold deck with aces.
Yeah, he was saying it's like the 5th time he's had his aces cracked, and he kind of looked pretty pained, but sounds like he's not had the luck of the cards with him.
Here's a Norwegian fact from 2 aces, 1 deuce. It's so expensive in Norway that people on welfare benefit receive 40,000 euros each year. And this one is probably genuine. Comes in from Bergs. He says that the essence of every sport in Norway is to beat the Swedes. It doesn't happen that often, though.
Ah, that local rivalry. Always healthy. And to Ben, who's been sporting the dark glasses of late.
Ben now firmly above the 3 million chip mark, by the way.
Yep, pops this up. Looks like it's going to get all the way around. Just Mr. Loddon to get through.
Just Mr. Loddon?
Just
That's
Mr. Loddon.
Johnny Loddon you're talking about.
No, I didn't mean him as in, oh, it's only, I didn't mean Oni. John Loddon, I just meant he was the last remaining player. You know what I mean. You big tease. You think we could get some chairs for those two spectators? I mean, that's going to get pretty busy later on. They've come early, they should be given a chair. That's the way I think it is. Well, that's probably hit Johnny 26 times.
Does anyone do the classic look back to see if they've got a club?
Boom, that was all it took. Check, C-bet, win. And that is why he has a huge stack.
Yeah, Ben has a very good position in this tournament. At this stage, some players want just to squeeze in a few more places,
yep,
instead of playing for a final table and final 3 spots. So he has 3 times as much as the second player. It's really good spot to be in.
Yeah.
Let's just talk about the prize money for a second. As you'd expect in any major poker tournament, it's pretty top heavy, and at the moment the payouts are pretty flat, and then they start to get really steep. So that's what they're going to be playing for tomorrow at the final table. Everyone at the moment is guaranteed 29,000 euros. That's what you'll get for 15th and 16th. But then it goes up to 34 to 42 to 53, and then you get the big jumps, and all the way up to that 835,000 euro prize for the winner.
Mr. Loddon offered an opportunity. Does he want to get involved? Leonzo's been pretty quiet last few orbits, but Johnny's going to raise back against him.
Gets rid of the big blind, so the action is back on Leonzio. Made it 115,000 total.
And Marco calls 3-bet in possession.
Okay, let's give ourselves a flop.
Not much of a repper's flop. Because Johnny had 755,000 here, so before you know it, a big percentage of his stack is going to get involved in this hand.
Yeah, you don't see usually at this chip stacks calling 3-bets. It's just 4-bet all in or fold.
Yeah.
But the small c-bet should be like 90% of the time. And it should win if Leoncio was calling with like Broadway cards.
Yeah.
Well, he might be trapping with aces, but this would be a good play.
Well, actually, the information you're seeing on your screen is actually out of date. We understand there have been 2 eliminations on the outer table, and they're actually down to 15.
Wow.
500,100.
Just get confirmation on that from the floor. If that is the case, it will be redraw time, but obviously we've got to finish this hand first.
Yeah, Marco Leonzo, big ask here. So you want to get involved against Johnny here.
Yeah, c-bet 94. I really like the sizing because it's one third of the pot, but it does the work, and as you can see, Marco is in a very tough spot at the moment. Because what if he has a medium or small pair? Is he gonna call? Is he gonna shove? If Johnny has overpair, then oh yeah, you see.
Yeah.
So it is time for a redraw. And that means that we are going to take a short break. It's a good opportunity to say farewell to Marcin Horecki from Team PokerStars Pro. Thank you for joining us, Marcin. It's great to have you here.
Thank you.
So with 2 eliminations from the outer tables, we're down to 15. It is time for a redraw, and when we come back from the break, we'll have a brand new feature table for you. And we'll continue to follow the progress of the remaining players here at EPT Prague, and we will continue to play down to our final table.